Diddy's world came crashing down this week in a way that no one could have predicted, not even him. Leaked footage, betrayals from those he trusted, and a series of shocking events have left his empire in ruins. It all started with the explosive release of footage he never wanted anyone to see, followed by the rejection of his pardon request by his once supportive ally, Donald Trump. As if that wasn't enough, Diddy's lawyer felt completely betrayed when his private conversations were leaked to the public. And in an act of ultimate abandonment, Diddy's own family is reportedly fleeing the chaos and heading to South Africa. This is Bad Boy Weekly, Episode 3, and trust me when I say, even Diddy never saw this coming. His once thriving empire, a symbol of success, is now teetering on the edge of collapse. Welcome back to Bad Boy Weekly, where we dive deep into the chaos surrounding Diddy's life. This week has been nothing short of catastrophic, and we're here to break it all down for you. We're talking about the 50 Cent documentary, a bombshell that exposed every last secret Diddy was trying to keep hidden. But that's not all. We've got the full story behind Trump's rejection of Diddy's pardon request, and you won't believe the reasons why it was shut down. On top of that, Mike Tyson has just dropped a massive confession about how Diddy's letter made it into Trump's hands in the first place. We'll also discuss the strict release conditions Diddy faces, and the shocking news that his own family is distancing themselves from him, trying to escape the mess he's created. By the end of this episode, you'll understand exactly why Diddy's own cheapness, his refusal to pay the right people and use the proper channels, is the reason he's still locked behind bars, dealing with the consequences of his own actions. Let's dive in. Before we get into the wild twists and turns of this story, I just want to make it clear that I'm not here to explain who Diddy is or what he's done. By now, most people are already familiar with the basics. So let's skip the backstory and dive straight into the shocking details of this week's events. And trust me, it's a lot. Let's start with the biggest story of the week, the 50 Cent documentary that has completely shattered Diddy's world. What should have been a minor footnote in his career has now turned into a full-scale disaster. Here's the thing. Just days before the documentary was set to drop, Diddy's legal team scrambled to block its release. But by then, it was far too late. This wasn't just another documentary. This was a full-blown exposé that revealed everything Diddy was trying to keep behind closed doors. The documentary includes behind-the-scenes footage of Diddy and his legal team, candidly discussing their strategy and planning just days before his arrest in New York last year. In this footage, Diddy looks far less like the powerful mogul we've come to know, and more like a man who's about to lose everything. He's seen arguing with his lawyers, expressing his frustration, and telling them that they're losing the case. "I'm going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution," he tells them. But here's the kicker. Diddy was completely wrong. They weren't losing the case at all. In fact, his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, had already secured several victories for Diddy. Mark was doing his job, doing it well, but Diddy's panic had clouded his judgment. This footage reveals something deeper. It shows a man who, despite all his power and influence, was terrified of losing everything. The very thing he had built his empire on, his wealth, his name, his brand, was slipping through his fingers, and it's all caught on tape for the world to see. And the worst part, Diddy never thought the footage would see the light of day. He never thought his private moments, his raw, vulnerable self, would be exposed to the public in such a humiliating way. But that's exactly what happened. The footage, still raw and unedited, was handed over to 50 Cent, and the rapper wasted no time in turning it into a Netflix documentary. The irony: Diddy, who had been so careful about controlling his public image, had never imagined that the very thing he trusted, the team he hired to document his life, would betray him so brutally. But that's exactly what happened. The videographer, whom Diddy failed to pay after his accounts were frozen, ended up selling all the raw footage to 50 Cent. Every second of it, every moment of Diddy's vulnerability, his struggle, and his failure, out there for everyone to see. And here's the even crazier part. The footage that 50 Cent has is just the tip of the iceberg. Sources now say that some of the footage 50 Cent obtained was too controversial to be included in the documentary. That means 50 Cent is sitting on even more explosive footage, evidence that could send Diddy spiraling deeper into trouble. It's this new evidence that is eating Diddy alive in prison rye. GHT now. He's sitting in a cell, powerless to stop what's coming next. Curtis, the man behind this documentary, has a long, well-documented feud with Diddy. So, what made him decide to take on this project? Was there anything in the footage that surprised him? Curtis has admitted that he wasn't surprised by Diddy's behavior in the footage, but the raw, unfiltered nature of it gave him a new perspective on Diddy's character. It was a deeper look at the man behind the fame, someone who is far more vulnerable than we've been led to believe. But perhaps the most shocking part of all is how Diddy secretly recorded his private phone calls with his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. In these conversations, Diddy is telling Mark that they're losing the case, demanding more action and pushing for a more aggressive strategy. But Mark wasn't losing. He was winning, quietly and efficiently. Diddy, in his panic, couldn't see it. And yet, he chose to secretly record these confidential conversations, betraying Mark's trust in the process. Think about that for a second. Mark Agnifilo was working tirelessly to save Diddy's future. He was Diddy's lifeline, the one person who kept him from a lifetime behind bars. And how did Diddy repay that trust? By recording their private conversations and letting them leak to the world. It's a betrayal that could have far-reaching consequences, and it's something that's been eating away at Diddy ever since. Now let's move on to the part of this saga that's both shocking and, frankly, hilarious. Diddy's request for a pardon. Diddy, still thinking he could escape his mess with a little help from his old friend Donald Trump, sent him a letter asking for a pardon. Trump confirmed receiving the letter in early January 2026, but here's the twist. Trump made it crystal clear that he had no intention of granting Diddy's request. Zero. Nada. Trump made it clear that Diddy had to face the consequences of his actions. He said it plainly. Diddy's not getting a pardon, and he's not going to make any exceptions. It's wild when you think about it. Diddy, who's used to getting what he wants, couldn't even get the one thing he thought was guaranteed. But then the plot thickens even more. Mike Tyson, yes, Mike Tyson, just dropped a bombshell of his own. He revealed that he was the one who actually delivered Diddy's pardon letter to Trump. Can you imagine that? Mike Tyson, of all people, was the messenger. A mutual friend of Diddy and Mike reached out, asking Mike to deliver the letter during a visit to the White House. Mike didn't want to get involved, but after some persuasion, he agreed. Now let's talk about why Diddy's cheapness, yet again, backfired. Normally, the pardon process involves paying professional lobbyists who have the right connections to make things happen. Diddy could have hired professionals who could have guaranteed him a chance at a pardon, but instead, Diddy tried to cut corners. He figured he could bypass the process and have Mike Tyson deliver the letter for free. But here's the problem. The system doesn't work that way. Trump saw right through Diddy's scheme, and now, Trump has that letter in his hands, ready to use it whenever he wants. This is the true cost of Diddy's cheapness. His refusal to pay people what they're owed, his constant attempts to outsmart the system, have all led him to this moment, sitting in a jail cell, watching his empire crumble. And it doesn't end there. Sources are now reporting that Diddy has a long history of not paying people. Whether it's the videographer who sold the footage to 50 Cent or his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, who had to settle with him for $20 million after filing a lawsuit. This man has tried to get discounts on everything, and I mean everything. But now, it's all catching up with him. Now, let's dive into how this explosive footage got out. Diddy had hired a videographer to document his life, capturing every detail of his personal and professional journey. But when his financial situation took a nosedive and his accounts were frozen, Diddy found himself unable to pay the production team. And what happens when you don't pay people? They get angry. The videographer, who had been left unpaid, saw an opportunity. He sold the raw, unedited footage to 50 Cent for a pretty penny. And of course, 50 Cent did what any savvy businessman would do. He took the footage, uncut and unfiltered, and transformed it into a full-fledged documentary. Every moment, every second that Diddy likely hoped would never see the light of day, every detail that would typically be swept under the rug, remained in the final cut. The moments that made Diddy look bad, they were front and center for the entire world to see. The worst part: Diddy had absolutely no idea that this footage would be used against him until it was too late. The betrayal, the loss of control, it was all unfolding right in front of his eyes. I know what you're thinking. You probably saw this coming, right? But here's the real twist. Sources have now revealed that some of the footage 50 Cent obtained was considered too controversial to even be included in the documentary. That means 50 Cent now holds a treasure trove of explosive evidence that could send Diddy down an even darker path. And this is the very thing that's eating away at Diddy as he sits behind bars. He can't escape the undeniable truth that has been exposed for all to see. His life, his mistakes, all out there for the world to judge. And now, there's nothing he can do about it. Curtis, the mastermind behind this documentary, has a long and very public feud with Diddy. So what made him want to take on this project? Was there anything in the footage that surprised him? Curtis admits that he wasn't surprised by Diddy's behavior. He's seen enough of the mogul's antics to know what he's capable of. But the raw honesty of the footage gave him a deeper look into Diddy's psyche, something most people have never seen before. It's one thing to see Diddy on stage, performing with confidence, or in interviews, playing the role of the self-assured mogul. But it's something entirely different to see him behind closed doors, panicking, scrambling for a way out, questioning his own decisions. The footage pulled back the curtain on the man Diddy truly is, and it was a far cry from the public persona he's so carefully cultivated. But here's the most shocking revelation of all. Diddy secretly recorded his private phone calls with his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. In these recordings, Diddy is expressing his dissatisfaction with the case and demanding his lawyer take more aggressive action. He's frustrated, panicked, and insists they're losing. But here's the catch: Mark wasn't failing at all. He was working tirelessly to secure a favorable outcome for Diddy. Mark had already won parts of the case, but Diddy couldn't see it through his clouded judgment. Instead of appreciating the work Mark was doing, Diddy chose to secretly record their conversations, turning a moment of professional trust into a betrayal. And what did he do with that betrayal? He let it leak to the public, exposing their private conversations for the world to hear. Mark must have felt deeply hurt by this. After all, if it weren't for his hard work, Diddy would likely be facing a much harsher fate right now. Mark had been his ally, his only hope, and Diddy repaid that loyalty by airing their private, confidential talks to the world. The weight of this betrayal is something Diddy will have to live with forever. But the drama doesn't stop there. Now let's talk about Diddy's request for a pardon. If you thought things couldn't get any more ironic, think again. Diddy, still believing that he could somehow outsmart the system, sent a letter to Donald Trump asking for a pardon. Trump confirmed he received the letter in January 2026, but here's where it gets really interesting. Trump made it crystal clear that he had no intention of granting Diddy's request. He wasn't going to do it. Not now, not ever. Trump, who had once been an ally to Diddy, was firm in his stance that Diddy needed to face the consequences of his actions. The idea that Diddy could simply walk free without consequences was laughable to Trump, and he made that clear. Diddy had overestimated his influence and assumed that his past relationship with Trump would somehow shield him. But the reality was far more brutal. But wait, there's a twist within a twist. Mike Tyson, yes, Mike Tyson, has just revealed an unbelievable secret. He admitted that he was the one who actually delivered Diddy's pardon letter to Trump. Can you even imagine that? Mike Tyson, of all people, was the messenger in this bizarre saga. Apparently, a mutual friend of both Diddy and Mike reached out and asked Mike to deliver the letter during a visit to the White House. Initially, Mike didn't want to get involved. He didn't want to take on the burden of delivering such a controversial letter. But after some convincing, he finally agreed. Now let's break down why this whole situation is so important. Typically, the pardon process involves tens of millions of dollars in lobbying fees. You don't just send a letter and hope for the best. You hire professionals who know how to get things done, lobbyists with the right connections to influence those in power. But Diddy, in his typical fashion, didn't want to pay for any of that. He thought he could outsmart the entire system by sending a letter through Mike Tyson. No professionals, no lobbyists, just a favor from a friend. He believed he could bypass the traditional process and get a pardon for free. But what did he fail to realize? You can't bypass the system like that. And Trump saw right through it. He recognized exactly what Diddy was trying to do, and now that letter is in Trump's possession, something that could be used as leverage against him at any time. This is the cost of Diddy's cheapness. He tried to exploit his relationships, cut corners, and save money in ways that only ended up backfiring. His refusal to pay for the proper process to follow the right channels has landed him in a much worse situation. It's a classic case of trying to game the system, and it's one that has completely unraveled on him. Now, he's left to deal with the fallout of those decisions, trapped in a cycle of consequences that were entirely self-inflicted. Now, let's talk about why this situation is such a big deal. The pardon process, especially at this level, usually involves tens of millions of dollars in lobbying fees. You don't just send a letter and hope for the best. No, you hire professionals, people with the right connections, people who know how to get things done in Washington, people who can move the needle when it counts. But Diddy didn't want to pay for any of that. He thought he could outsmart the system, taking a shortcut by having Mike Tyson deliver the letter for free. But here's the problem. You simply can't bypass the professional process. Trump saw right through it. He knew exactly what Diddy was trying to do, and now that letter is in his hands, available for use whenever he pleases. It's a perfect example of Diddy trying to cut corners and exploit his relationships. And unsurprisingly, it has backfired in the most spectacular way. This decision to cut corners to try and game the system has now become the very reason Diddy is still behind bars. It's not just about the pardon process anymore. It's about how Diddy has handled everything, from his legal battles to his business dealings. He spent so much time trying to avoid paying people, trying to get the best deal possible, trying to save money at every turn. And now, it's catching up to him. Sources have confirmed that Diddy has a long history of not paying his debts. Whether it's the videographer who sold the footage to 50 Cent, or his ex-girlfriend Cassie, who had to sue him for $20 million, this man has been trying to get discounts on everything. And I mean everything. But now it's all coming back to bite him. Diddy's release conditions will be extremely strict when he finally gets out of prison. He'll be required to complete a mandatory domestic violence program, undergo mental health treatment, and perhaps most importantly, he will not be allowed to have any contact with the victims in his case, or any other criminals for that matter. Even after he serves his time, Diddy won't be truly free. The government will keep a watchful eye on him. Every penny he spends, every new bank account he opens, everything will be monitored. This is a life that Diddy, who's used to living in luxury, free to spend as he pleases, will now have to live under intense scrutiny. And it's all because of the choices he made. But as if things weren't bad enough, Diddy's family is reportedly distancing themselves from him. According to sources, they're moving to South Africa, hoping to escape the mess he's created. His son, King Combs, is said to be behind this decision, trying to protect the family from the fallout and distance them from the chaos that's consuming Diddy's life. Imagine that for a moment. Diddy, sitting in a jail cell, fighting for his freedom, while his own family is trying to forget he even exists. The very people who were once his biggest supporters are now running away from the fallout of his actions. It's heartbreaking, but it's also the painful reality of what happens when everything you've built falls apart. But it doesn't end there. Diddy's legal troubles are far from over. There's still the ongoing battle with Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation. Tony Busby, a lawyer representing former clients, is going head-to-head with Jay-Z in a legal war that shows no signs of slowing down. Busby's law firm is still standing strong despite alleged sabotage attempts, and this battle is far from finished. The drama continues to unfold, and the legal ramifications for all involved are only getting more complex by the day. So there you have it, another week of chaos in the world of Diddy. The drama isn't over, and it seems like it's only going to escalate from here. What do you think? Do you think Diddy will make it through parole without violating? Do you think his family will ever come back, or will they stay far away from the disaster he's created? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've made it this far, make sure you're subscribed, because we'll keep you updated on everything happening in this case, week after week. Bad Boy Weekly will be back next week for episode 4. Until then, stay safe out there.